So lately, my videos have not been too inspirational, we'll call it, but I can't help it. When you travel the country as much as I do and interact with as many people as I do, you can't avoid the obvious. And this entire playlist right here explains what I'm talking about. But I wanted to get back to just regular old videos, just for a minute if we could, because YouTube is kicking my butt. For every one of these videos I put out, YouTube drops me down a notch. It is what it is. What are you going to do? So let's get to something that I really, really enjoy and something I've been doing for quite a while, shall we? Mountain biking. For the last 3 or 4 years, I have been really, really hardcore into mountain biking. And the reason I did that was because I had a health issue. And hiking wasn't working for me anymore because my knees wouldn't cooperate. So I decided to get a mountain bike. And when I jumped on a mountain bike in my 50s, I discovered it had passed me by. So I grabbed an e-mountain bike made by Trek, and I promptly took it all apart and redesigned it to my own specifications, we'll call it. Now, this e-bike isn't something that you just push a button and it goes. You pedal and it will assist you. That's all. You pedal, it helps out. So it isn't like an electric dirt bike or whatever people might think, etc. But since I've done this, I think for the last 4 years, I've ridden my mountain bike every single solitary day, no matter what the weather, the temperature, or where I was. So it's definitely had some benefits to it, and I highly recommend it, even in your middle years, we'll call it. How's that sound? My mountain bike goes absolutely every place with me, and I've actually gone through 2 Trek rails. I had one for 2 years. I put a couple of motors in it myself because rain, sleet, snow, etc. aren't too great for the e-bike motors after a long period of time. And it was easy enough for me to simply swap them out, which I did. In the meantime, my mountain bike has been from the East Coast to the Mexican border to Moab to Arizona, Texas. It's been all over the country except Alaska and Hawaii. And I mean, this thing sees some serious action. And no matter how well you take care of your bike, and I'm talking things like tubeless tires, putting green stuff in them, etc. When you come out west, you run into certain issues that even with puncture-proof tires, you still lose your tires. And many, many times I carry camera equipment with me in a backpack, and I've always carried the old standby in case I got a flat tire. You know, a CO2 cartridge with a pump on it usually works out, but there's a lot of things that go wrong with those little guys, and you might find yourself in a bad situation. Well, as technology progresses, things get smaller and smaller and smaller, and I recently discovered this little item, and I had to show it to people because this thing is insane. It's insane. I'm in Texas right now, and you can see that there are cacti absolutely everywhere, so this thing was definitely warranted. It's a mini compressor that literally fits in your pocket. Now, when I first saw this thing, I'm thinking to myself, that's ridiculous. That thing's not going to do anything. The old standbys are CO2 or a mini pump, you know what I mean? But there's problems with that, for me at least. The CO2 cartridge can go off while it's in your pocket, in your backpack, etc., and many, many times it won't fill a 29-inch tire all the way up at all. So that is a problem. Now, mechanical pumps like the Blackburn pump right there that I'm comparing to are great as well. Except on my bike, it doesn't work out at all. Because as compact and reliable as they are, I mean, this Blackburn pump is an awesome little pump. But there's no place to mount it on my bike whatsoever at all. Granted, I can carry it in a backpack, but again, usually when I'm on my mountain bike, I've got water, tools, and cameras in my backpack. So putting this large item in there, if I don't have to, wouldn't suck. And that's where I found this little guy. And I thought this was a joke. I couldn't believe this. You know, that this thing isn't going to pump up a tire whatsoever at all. I've done this over 25 times just testing it, and this thing is no joke. And this is not a sponsored video. I saw this in a YouTube video on a mountain bike channel that I follow, and when I looked at this thing, It's the same size as the remote control for my truck. It's literally so small you can put it in your pocket and forget you have it there. And that little white thing is a compressor. And it literally does pump up a 29 from dead nuts flat to full in less than, I think it was 70 something seconds. And then when you have to charge it up, it charges up in like 10 minutes off a USB-C, which I carry a power pack for my camera, so I can charge this thing easily. But I mean, I've managed to fill up 2 tires with this thing before it needed a recharge. Check this out. So that's insane, but that was real time. That was dead nuts flat to all the way filled up, and it still had some juice left in it. But still, I wanted to throw it on a charger and see how quickly it would recover. Especially because if you need it for more than 2 fill ups on the trail, first of all, you're having issues if you got 2 fill ups on the trail. But if you've got more than that, you've got to give it some juice. And juicing it up was incredibly fast. And like I said, I've done this 20 times. I've had this thing for a couple of months. I wanted to check it, and recheck it before I recommended it. So check this out. This is how fast this thing charges up off a standard USB-C. You can run it off a power pack or whatever you want. I had it plugged into the wall. That's a Luminox 1500 automatic watch. And it was astonishing that in like 10 minutes, this thing charged up, ready to go, ready to do 2 more 29-inch by 2.25-inch tires, which is staggering. And like I said, I've done this almost 2 dozen times just to make sure that this thing held up, and it did. It holds up really well. And again, I'm not sponsored, but I'll tell you what, instead of carrying a big old mechanical pump on the frame of my bike, which I can't do, or carrying around a CO2 cartridge, which are incredibly hard to find on the road, this thing right here takes away a lot of the nervousness of riding out into the wilderness. Because even with bulletproof tires, bullets still get through. At any rate, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment below, and I will return the favor. I am out.